Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us so that we can learn as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods everyone hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. But on today's show, our special guest is Fabrizio Poli. He's the owner of Ultimate Aviators Club, where they're servicing entrepreneurs that own their own private jets and turboprops with all their training needs. And so it's great. We're having a pre-chat around this. So Fabrizio or Fab, if you guys want to call him that as well, thank you for being on the show. And I want to start off by asking you a question that I always love to start off with, which is this. If you were able to have a time machine and go back to when you started your very first business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Well, I would use some people that could help me in vetting the people I'm hiring. I made some bad investments a few years ago in some couple of businesses, and I went about it too emotional and hired
Mm,
my best friend on one business and a brother-in-law on the other. What I should have done, I should have said, okay, yeah, this is interesting. However, I would like this you to have a chat with so and so, who will then tell me what they think. And it's pretty much their decision if we invest or not. So that other person is unbiased, or that group of people, maybe a group of two or three people, just so you get a second opinion. Because it's important. I mean, in a business, you've got the product, you've got the process, but the people is the most important factor because the people can screw the process and the product up. So the people element in everything is even, we were talking earlier about aircraft accidents. 85% of accidents are caused by the human factor. So, the people is a really important element. So choosing your people right. And so, having some people help you out do that. I think that's important.
yeah, yeah. Um, Obviously, helping people help you do that is great. But is there anything that you've learned along the way that has helped you to be able to maybe have a bit more discernment or awareness around hiring the right people, along with getting second opinions from outside people?
Oh yeah, I mean, you got to see. The main thing is people's mindset, and there are questions you can ask people. In particular, tell me about a difficult situation in your life and how you overcame that. What did you do?
Mm,
What happened and what did you do? That tells you a lot about someone's character, and I think that's a key question to ask people. You want to see how they behave under pressure and what kind of decisions they make when they're under pressure, how they go
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah. It's a great question as well. Um, is when you look, you've just mentioned something, and it's similar to one of the questions I love to ask. You talk about decisions you make under pressure. What's one of the biggest challenges that you faced in your business so far? And what are the lessons that you've learned from that?
Well, the biggest challenge, I mean, I've been buying and selling aircraft for about 10 years now. And we sell private jets. And this was the main business that I was until we morphed into the pilot training. One of the most difficult things with this is that there are 3.1 million people in the world that can afford private jet travel. Out of these 3.1 million people, there are 45,000 airplanes between turboprops and jets. Out of those 45,000, there's about 35,000 owners because some people own more than one airplane. So you've got 35,000 people that actually own a plane. You've got 3.1 million that could potentially own one. Okay. So next statistic, which is important, is when someone buys a plane, they buy a plane every 5 years. So now, the odds of finding the person is very, very difficult. So it's a difficult business to be in, finding these people. But what I did discover along the way was that this pilot training issue, as I was saying, a lot of multimillionaires that fly their own airplanes tend to crash a lot, and so I followed the crashes, reported on the crashes through BizJet TV and mainstream media as well. And I also talk about it in my book, The Quantum Economy. I talk about flight safety of private jets being really bad. You're paying 15 times more money to fly private, and you've got 10 times more chances of crashing and dying. As you know yourself, you told me you survived a crash in a private aircraft a number of years ago,
Yeah.
and a lot of it's down to the pilot training. So we've developed a new company called Airavat, the ultimate aviators club, who just launched the other day, incidentally. And we take care of all the training, and not just the training before you have your airplane, but also while you have your airplane. We've got a number of very experienced
Mm.
pilots that will go out and fly with these people and coach them 3 or 4 times a month. We've got webinars for the club members talking about icing, flying in bad weather, and all sorts of things like that. To bring to the table new information, and almost like they do with the airlines. I've worked for a number of airlines as a pilot, and you have this training department that looks after you. So we're that training department for the multimillionaire that flies his own aircraft, and we make sure that they're safe. And also, we're using virtual reality and all the technology that's out there. We're bringing to the table to bring something very cutting edge, and very mindful that these people don't have much time. So we're working the schedule around their schedule. And that's what
Mm.
you don't get when they go to the traditional schools or traditional courses. The courses from the 2nd of February to the 28th of February, and you've got to be there for those 25 days, whatever it is. And these guys don't have time to do that. They're running 3 or 4 businesses. They want to be able to do 3 or 4 days here, 3 or 4 days there. So that's, we're tailoring that to their needs, but at the same time, making sure that these people are safe. And so, that's the way we're doing it. But going back to the
Mm.
challenge with the high net worth individuals, trying to find these people to sell them jets. I've got a database with every single private jet owner in the world. I've got all their contact details. But what I found in the very beginning is cold calling these people doesn't work. They have to come
Mm.
to you. So how do they come to you? You either go to an event or you sponsor an event where they're at and you get talking to them, or
Yeah.
they come to you because they see that you're delivering value, or through a friend or online, like with LinkedIn, with YouTube. So that's why I created BizJet TV, which is my YouTube channel. So effectively, what I'm doing what Jesus advised us to do, and we're Christmas time now. He said, "Be fishers of men." So instead of hunting, hunting would be knocking on people's doors. These multimillionaires, they've got 20, 30 people knock on the door every single day for money or to try and sell them something.
Yeah.
So my idea is I fish. So I use the internet, as in a net in fishing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they end up knocking on my door because I'm out there delivering value. I'm writing articles for Ad Bio magazine. I'm on TV talking about aircraft accidents. I'm doing videos on BizJet TV. I post those videos on LinkedIn and on YouTube, and people watch me. They see there's over 1,200 videos out there. They see all the media interviews, the books that I've written, and everything. They say, "Well, this guy, maybe he knows what he's doing, private jet
Mm.
wise. Maybe I need to reach out to him to see if he can help me to find a jet, buy a jet, or maybe with my pilot training." So it's
Yeah.
fishing and not hunting. And with the internet
Yeah.
today, the internet, fishing is a lot easier. So what my advice would be to people is to, keep sharing value, share that value that you have, that you can bring to the table to the people, and people will appreciate your value, and the right people will knock on your door.
Yeah. I love that. It's one of those things I think people theoretically understand. They just don't do because they can't stick with the consistency of doing it long term.
Well, and another
Um,
thing, Jason, I would say video is really important. You want to be
yeah.
out there on video. People need to see your face, see your name, as well as read your articles. But video is really, really important. And if you're a bit shy in that,
Mhm.
try and get past the shy, and get on video because, people identify with you that way.
Yeah, yeah. And I love when I was asking the question about one of the biggest challenges and what have you learned from that. I love what you've done. You've identified there's a gap in the market that even though the numbers you gave, there's a small segment of people that can actually afford to have a jet,
But the segment is
but
growing. That segment is
it,
growing. I
it's
reckon it's going to
growing.
go, yeah, 35 to 100,000 in the next probably 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, but the
And I'll
amazing
tell you
thing
why in a minute. I'll tell you why in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. But the amazing thing is because you've also started using the pilot training now as well. So you're getting in and building your network that way, which is a long-term relational play as well as adding value. I just love it. It's a great thing. But yeah, tell me what do you see in the growth of the market?
Well, COVID taught a lot of people a lot of things. Mainly, I'll give you one example. Jonathan, this guy reached out to me from Houston, incidentally, and he has a number of coffee shops, and he's invested in 3 different types of franchising. And he had the need to go and visit these locations, but obviously during COVID, that was very difficult. And going by car takes a long time, so he decided he was going to learn to fly, and he wanted to buy an airplane. So he initially bought a small propeller airplane, and I sold it to him, and we ferried it to the US. And he used this to fly from A to B to C to D. So he could, because a lot of these coffee shops are in small locations where there are small
Yeah.
runways. So he
Yeah.
could go and visit 3 or 4 locations in the same day. And so in the first year, he tripled his business as a result of using the airplane. So he hired an instructor, he got his pilot's license, he flew like crazy the first year, and then he decided to buy a second aircraft, which is a turboprop, which flies a lot higher and faster. And he's building his business with the 2 airplanes now. Now, this is a typical situation. Guy between 35 to 40, has got a bit of money, has a need, and thought, well, if I can fly the plane myself, then it's like having a car. I just get it out of the hangar, jump in, and go. And even if everything's shut down and you're not allowed to travel, everybody is wearing masks, whatever, I can still travel. But a lot of people discovered the freedom that you get from flying your own aircraft. And so there's more and more people opening up to this. But then, the issue is always the wife, where the wife says, no, dear, you already crashed your Ferrari last week, and I don't think I'm going to allow you to fly an aeroplane. And that's where we come in with Aerovat, where we will train these guys to be safe. And so this number of entrepreneurs that fly their own airplanes is on the increase. There's a lot of flight schools now where there are these type of individuals, usually between 35 to 40 years old, got a bit of money, maybe just had an exit from one business at 50, 60, 100 million, and they always fancied flying when they were younger, but they didn't have the opportunity. Now they do. They've got the money, they've got the time. They're going to buy the plane, they're going to use it to fly the family around, and they're going to use it for business. So that this is what's happening. So the number of people that have their own airplane and fly it is on the increase because of that. And also air travel with the airlines has become more and more tedious and complicated and whatnot. And if you fly your own airplane, you've got access to a lot more airports. It's a lot quicker. I mean, you can jump in the plane and go in 10 minutes. I mean, obviously, if you're flying the plane yourself, you need to do your pre-flight checks and whatever. So that takes about an hour. But some people will hire a professional pilot like John Travolta does. He has a team of pilots that looks after all the airplanes for him, and then he just jumps in the seat and goes. But they've done everything. They've prepared the whole airplane, everything. They brief him, and then off he goes. So there's a number of ways of doing it. But this number is increasing because the power that you get and the time saving and the convenience of having your own airplane, especially in the United States, with all these smaller airports that are available, you just save stacks and stacks of time, and you haven't got the hassle you have going through airport security, planes delayed, they lost your bag, it's arriving in 2 days' time, blah 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 blah. And the story could go on. So so that number's on the increase. But these people need to learn to fly their planes in a safe way, and that's what we aim to do with Aerovat.
Yeah, that's amazing, amazing. Well, Fabrizio, with I know we were chatting loads before we actually started recording, so we're a little bit short on time. But I'd love for you to share, like, what are some places that people can get in touch with you to find out more about what you're doing. If they're interested in whether it's flight training or purchasing a craft or whatever, what's the best place for people to get in contact with you?
Well, if you type in at BizJet TV, BIZ Jet TV, that will take you to the YouTube channel. Over 1,200 videos on there, or you can go to flyaerovat.com, which is our training organization. But you type in at BizJet TV, that will lead you to the YouTube, and then that links you. Or look me up on LinkedIn as well. You can find me on there, and you can ping me a message, and then we can get on a call and see
Amazing.
what we can do to help you.
Amazing. Well, I definitely recommend everyone checking those sites out, particularly if you are looking for a new flight training, pilot training, or looking to even buy your own plane. Definitely check out Fabrizio and what they can provide for you there as well. So, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your pearls of wisdom. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next episode, stay inspired.